Hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. Quick update before the weekly candle close, because it is currently playing out that bullish scenario that we talked about yesterday, where I showed you the bullish divergence on the chart, I showed you the descending wedge, and I showed you the possible inverse head and shoulders. That's where we talked about, when a couple of weeks ago we came up here and talked to you about, if we can't really get higher than this 126 level, which is the 50% fib retracement, that we might retest the dollar level. Now we didn't get quite to the dollar level, we got down to $1.01 all right, or $1.02. Let's check. Yeah, $1.02. So quite close, and that we then could form an inverse head and shoulders. Yeah, and this is very, very similar. That that whole fractal, that is what I showed you yesterday as well, that down here in this cup shape here, or this accumulation phase, you had a very, very similar wave pattern. Just look at that, descending wedge, and also the way this is done structurally, you move up first, then you come down, and then you sort of slow down the downtrend and you break out. And then we saw the bullish divergence, and it seems to be playing out today, this sort of bullish version. And when we were coming down here, and I left my long trade because I had a long trade open here, if you remember. So just around 114 I left it before we came down here, just when we started to come down here. Then this is when we started to drop. And now we seem to be turning around, because the $1 level was very, very important one. I did not exclude the possibility that we could also come down a little bit lower, maybe retest that 61.8% fib level. But I think this obviously hasn't happened. So we start to move up. Don't really see a lot of volume yet, so I'm a little bit skeptical. We reached here a very important fib level as well. So from that move up, let's just measure that. We reached the 50% fib level here, found support, and are starting to turn around. So the 50% fib level was the minimum that I told you would have to happen in this correction, and we came down to that level, and we're now starting to turn around. But now it depends obviously a little bit on the volume as well. Obviously we broke out, that is the first step, breaking out, and we got rejected, came down here, and that is now very important. So in the previous candle we moved up above the previous rejection point. That is healthy, that is good, making higher highs, making higher lows here in this sort of channel in which we're now moving here, And what we now do, we get rejected again, and ideally what you want is that we find support here at $1.05. Because then we basically, what we do, we break above the previous rejection point, which is very good for a breakout. We now come down to that level, retest previous resistance as support, and we could then start to go higher. Just want to say start to moon, but I think this might be a bit too optimistic. But this is good. And then if this happens and we see increased volume, because it's weekend, it's a bit unpredictable. We still have 3 hours for the weekly candle close. And if we now move up, we could get to that 126 level. That is the 50% Fibonacci retracement, and then we will have formed this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is a bullish reversal pattern. I mean, we can then discuss, do we call it rather a inverse head and shoulders, or do we call it a cup and handle? But in the end it doesn't make a difference, does it? You start to move up, and ideally what you do when we do this and we break above this 126 level, then there could be a retest that would be very healthy, and then start to move up. Bear in mind, up here then there will be the 200-day moving average. And the problem is, in this whole move here, there is still downside potential and increased downside potential until we break above $1.63. That is a structurally very important level. Need to move above that, hold it. And I think at that point, then we can be more certain that we are not going to see a lower low, because at the moment the risk is still there that we're going to form a lower low here for Cardano. Just because we move up a little bit now is not, it looks good, it starts to look good, it starts to look interesting, but first of all, we don't see increased volume yet, and we still haven't broken that 126 level. That would be the first step. Then we need to go above the 200-day moving average that is still holding down a lot of cryptos at the moment, that moving average, and then we need to move above that 163 level, a very, very relevant point here in the chart. Yeah, and that was just a quick video here for Cardano on the weekly candle, just before the weekly candle close. Ideally what you want to see as well, if next week we can break above this 126 level, we might actually see a bullish engulfing candle. That'd be quite good, similar to what we did here. Yeah, so basically where you get a red candle and then the next weekly candle here is fully engulfing the previous price action, and that would be bullish. And then we could also seriously move higher here. And for Cardano, that's certainly possible. We talked about Cardano has fulfilled the minimum requirements to complete the correction, which doesn't mean the correction is finished, but it means it's starting to look good, right? At any point we could move to an all-time high here for Cardano. All right, that's my view on Cardano. Hopefully you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, check out the channel membership for access to the Telegram servers, the chat, the live chat, the Discord server, and for a weekly live stream. We did one today on investing versus trading. And make sure that you also join our Instagram and the Twitter, right? And you can find the links for that in the video description. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.